We have been attacked. We are at war. Imagine this movie script. A former KGB spy, angry at the collapse of his motherland, plots a course for revenge.
Filmmaker Rob Reiner has spent months sounding the alarm about Russia. Last fall, he helped make that video, and of course, he is very excited about today's indictments. Today, he tweeted this, quote, "It's now crystal clear that Russia had a profound impact on the 2016 election. They have attacked us. They're continuing to attack us. If Trump is unwilling to acknowledge this and unwilling to protect us, the word treason is now center stage." Rob Reiner joins us tonight. Rob, good to see you.
Hey, Tucker, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I would think that after reading this series of indictments, the one that say the Russians supported Trump, attacked Hillary, the Russians also supported Black Lives Matter and Bernie, the Russians also had an anti-Trump rally in front of Trump Tower, you'd be a little embarrassed by tweets like this and your hysteria generally, are you?
No, you know, but here's the thing, Tucker, everybody out there knows that you and I are on opposite sides of the political spectrum. I mean, that we all know that. So what I'm thinking right now is you and I together, because we're so far apart politically, we have an opportunity here to do a great service to the country. If all we have to do, and this is not about whether or not there's collusion or whether or not whatever the Russians did definitely or didn't affect the outcome of the election. All you and I have to do at this point is agree with what Rod Rosenstein said today. Do you agree with that or no?
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't like foreign countries meddling in our affairs. I don't like that you tailor your movies to the Chinese censors' specifications, as you know you do. So I don't like any kind of foreign interference at all. I find it all offensive. I'm just saying when you accuse somebody of treason, I've heard you come out against McCarthyism, and to see you engage in it, treason, unpatriotic, you use phrases like that. Why would you do that?
No, I didn't accuse him of treason. What I said
yes, you did.
Is no. What I said was, if he is refusing to acknowledge the fact that the Russians did attack us during the election, and if he refuses to do anything about it, then you're conspiring with an enemy. And that's all I'm saying.
Okay, but can I ask you, are you aware that, that you want something to do, but we're now killing Russians in Syria. Trump killed a bunch of them last week. Were you happy about that? Were you excited that he killed Russians?
I'm not talking about, we're not talking about the Russians in Syria or what happened in Syria. We're talking about...
No, but were you excited? He killed Russians in Syria. What did you think of that?
I don't have an opinion about that. I know, I know is what... No, I don't. All I know is what has happened is that we've been invaded, and they continue to do to try to disrupt our democracy. And like you just pointed out early, you know, they'll go on both sides. They'll try to help Bernie, Jill Stein,
do you think the Russians,
anything to disrupt the democracy.
Do you think the Russians have more influence in our country than the Chinese government, to which you routinely kowtow in your films? Do you honestly, you look at the camera and say the Russians have more effect, on American society than the Chinese government? Do you believe that?
But wait a minute. Why did you say that I kowtow to them in my films? I don't know what that means.
Because Hollywood films, as you know, would never have a flattering portrayal of the Dalai Lama, for example, because the Chinese government doesn't want it. American films are routinely censored, or they go along with the imperatives of the Chinese government censors. You know this. You live there. I mean, you're not going to deny that, I assume, because it's true.
But you're saying that I censor myself for the Chinese. I don't do that. I don't know what else happens from everybody else. But all I'm saying, Tucker, well, I don't. But here's the thing, Tucker. All I'm saying is, if you and I can agree, all we have to do is agree that the Russians try to meddle and disrupt our democracy. That's all we have to agree on. If we can't agree on that...
I've thought that for years. Okay. I thought the Rosenbergs were guilty. You know what I mean? No, I'm serious. I think the Russians have done that for years. I think many countries do it.
Yeah,
but, I mean,
no, there's no question about it. They do it.
Right.
They do do it, and the Russians have been doing it for years. The only difference between what they have done, which is they call active measures and disinformation campaigns, the only difference between what they've been doing for years and now is that it's on steroids because of the internet and because of social media. So it's a much more powerful effect of what they've been able to accomplish.
Right.
Now,
Will you agree that you probably shouldn't call people unpatriotic or treasonous on your Twitter account? Can we just agree on that note?
Well, I wouldn't say they're unpatriotic or treasonous unless they're not willing to protect our country against foreign enemy powers. That's all. And let's see. Maybe he will. Maybe he'll change his mind.
Well, maybe he'll be a patriot in your mind. All right, we're out of time. Rob, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right, Tucker.
We're at war. How would you respond if President Trump took you seriously and sent the B-52s to St. Petersburg or blockaded the Gulf of Finland? Would you support that?
No. Well, when we say we're at war, we're talking about a cyber war.
It doesn't make that clear. It just says Morgan Freeman, who everyone trusts, his voice, evokes immediate trust in everyone. We're at war. But you don't really believe we're at war. Why are you saying it then?
Well, because if you watch the entire video, it talks about cyber warfare. It talks about how he was able to use, the internet and cyber tools to attack the democracy, which is what they did.
But shouldn't you say somewhere in there, we're not really at war? I mean, we're just kind of taking creative license. We're just trying to get you all pumped up. But it's not really war. Like, we shouldn't respond as you would as if you're in a war. Why not just say that so you don't confuse people?
Well, I'd say if you watch the whole video, you wouldn't be confused about it. I mean, the thing that I've always felt is that, people don't really understand the capacity for cyber warfare beyond the obvious stuff of, hacking into people's computers or using the internet. Facebook, we now find out, that they were using Facebook to push out certain kind of propaganda. Propaganda's been around forever. I mean, from Leni Riefenstahl on. So we've had plenty of propaganda.
Oh, I've noticed.
Right. But the point is that beyond the propaganda, there are other aspects to cyber warfare that have been used. We've used it. The Russians have used it. And we have to make people aware of the capacity of this cyber warfare beyond sowing distrust and confusion in democratic society.
Right. I mean, a couple of things. First, you've allied yourself with people like Max Boot and David Frum, who have long advocated for real wars, hot wars. Both of them were big advocates of the war in Iraq, predicated on the idea that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. I think you made a movie actually on that subject that's coming out later this month, taking the other side. But are you a little bit concerned you've wound up linked to people who are advocating and have over decades a series of actual wars where people die? Are you comfortable with that?
Well, we have people from on all sides. I mean, there's Norm Ornstein. We have James Clapper, who is the director of national intelligence. And there are many supporters. Norman Lear is a supporter. We have liberals and hawks and doves, as you say, on both sides. So we're not advocating going to war or going to a traditional war with Russia. But we are already in a cyber war with them. And if people want to turn their heads away from that, it's at their own peril. The point I'd like to make, and this is really important for people to understand, because this really doesn't have anything to do with Donald Trump. Trust me, because Donald Trump, whatever happens to him is going to happen to him. I mean, there are already investigations. Mueller's going to find what he finds. The House and Senate have their own investigations. They'll find whatever they find. But beyond that, we've been invaded in a certain way, and the thing that has been so upsetting to me, and I don't know how old you are, Tucker, but, you know, I can remember when I had to hide under a desk during the Cold War in the 50s because we were worried that we were going to get attacked, you know, by a nuclear bomb. And whenever the country has been attacked in one way or another, whether it was Pearl Harbor or 9/11, we've always come together as a country to defend ourselves against foreign enemies, you know. And this is the first time, because I think we're so divided as a country,
right.
and we know we are.
Well, but maybe here's part of the reason. No, but here's maybe part of the reason, because it's so. Perhaps this is. I agree with you. We are very divided, and maybe this is one of the reasons. A lot of this is deeply disingenuous. Anyone who looks at cyber warfare will tell you, any honest person will say, the Chinese military is the primary culprit in the United States, hacked into the White House not that long ago, into the computer system there, into almost every federal agency. Nobody said anything. You guys in Hollywood sell your movies in China. You bow to the imperatives of their propaganda and censorship office. You change your movies to suit them. And yet no one says we're at war with China. And I wonder why. So you're sucking up to this regime that has actually broken in and stolen industrial and military secrets that hurt this country. You say nothing until Hillary Clinton loses, and all of a sudden we're at war with Russia. Can you see why some of us are saying, well, wait a second, Rob Reiner, where were you with China? Why are you selling your movies over there? Fair question?
I'm not giving China a free pass here.
Well, of course you are.
Well,
I mean, you guys in Hollywood sell your movies there, and you allow their censorship office to change your movies in order to make money.
Yeah,
so
well, I don't personally do that because I don't.
Come on, everybody who sells a movie in China does that. You know it. I mean, let's stop. You know what I mean? Kind of BSing a little bit. I mean, that's real, right?
Yeah, but you know, here's the difference. The difference, Tucker, is that you know the Chinese have done some stuff. We've done stuff. We've done stuff way worse too. And every side.
So you
does
can't really judge, but we're going to judge Russia because why? Okay, but I'm just saying that just doesn't make sense.
Not letting me make a point here.
Go ahead.
You're not really. You know, we know about Stuxnet. We know the capacity for cyber warfare. It's not just about hacking into computers and stealing information. It's about using that information and weaponizing it in some way. Now, you can weaponize it in propaganda, which it has been done in this way, or it can be actually weaponized in a physical way to disrupt power plants, water supplies, and so on.
Right.
The Russians have done that in the Ukraine. We, like I say, Stuxnet, we did that in Iran. This is not a surprise. The point is, we're now at this point where we have to understand the capacity here so that we can put in place the kinds of measures we need to defend ourselves and protect ourselves.
You didn't. I agree with everything you just said. I let you explain.
I love that you agreed with that.
You didn't answer my question, which is...
What was the question?
The question is, if China is a bigger violator in the United States than Russia, and I think everyone agrees that it is, why are they not in your movie?
Well, but China has not insinuated themselves directly into our democratic process, into our elections.
Are you being serious? Of course they have. I mean, they've stolen information directly from the U.S. government, from our political figures, from the Pentagon, from CIA, from the White House. If they're not in our political system, then I don't understand what the definition is.
I didn't say that they weren't in the political system. Of course they are. What I'm saying is they didn't utilize that material to try to affect an election in some way.
I get it. Okay, so you can see why maybe some of us are a little bit skeptical. Maybe you're not selling as many movies in Russia as you are in China. Anyway, whatever. Good luck with David Frum and Max Boot. Good to see you, Rob.